up, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore. I'm back again, you guys, another episode, and it's something that I've been noticing a lot lately. Now, I wrote this topic down way back when. Let me see if I can even tell you when I wrote it. I wrote this on the 13th of March, y'all, okay? And it really has to do with comparison being the thief of joy. Okay, so I wrote this way back in the 13th of March based on things that I was experiencing through all of the classes that I'm retaking at the moment. It's like a refresher course for me. I'm trying to make sure that I stay up to speed on my mental health stuff because I do want to really help create a difference for you in your lives. So I was thinking about this, and lately, because I wrote it down on the 13th, I haven't recorded anything since, and right now I'm recording everything en masse, right? So I was thinking about it. When I wrote it down, did I have enough information to kind of re-jog my memory into what it is that I really wanted to talk about? And honestly speaking, when I saw the quote, the quote wasn't even the quote itself. I wrote down, let me read this for you. Hold on. I wrote down, looking at the stats and trying to stay motivated. Now, the first thing that came to mind was comparison is the thief of joy. Now, why is that? And that was driven home over and over again because I have been watching Zumbo's Just Desserts. I forgot the name of it. Something that Gaia decided she wanted to watch recently, and we've been kind of like watching it every night as we eat dinner. So we don't binge watch much of anything. We've been on March holidays this whole week, and we've been trying really hard to kind of stay motivated, get our work done, and then as a kind of like a celebration at the end of the day, we got all this stuff done. We're going to watch Zumbo. So it's been interesting. I didn't know who Zumbo was. I do like the creations that he comes up with. And it basically is like a pastry dessert challenge. It started off with, I think, 12 contestants. And every night they go into like a challenge. One person is eliminated. It's been amazing. It's been a lot of things that I didn't even consider because what do I know about all these French pastry names and techniques and blah, blah, blah? I don't know. I make chocolate chip cookies and that's good enough for me. So point being, we've been watching this thing, right? When it comes to comparison being the thief of joy, I watch all of these contestants. Now, I know if they were in their home kitchen making stuff, there would be no problem. They'd be in the zone. Obviously, there's no time limit to how long it takes for them to make a beautiful creation or whatever, and they could basically muck up a recipe, throw it out and start over again, and there's no problem because there is no time limit, there's no one watching, and they don't get to see what other people are doing. They're in their home kitchen, they're chilling, they're enjoying themselves, they're enjoying the process of creating. And all of these are home chefs who have a lot of skill, but they've decided they want to, take it to the next level and get Zumbo seal of approval and be on national TV to be able to showcase the fact that they have talent. Super cool, very, very awesome. But the point being that when I watch them in action, once that timer goes off and starts counting down, you see how panicked they get. And a lot of times they're looking at what other people are doing. Now, I've done podcast episodes about this before. I've done, Instagram posts about this before, about how you really need a set of blinders to get your work done because the last thing you want is to sound like everybody else. The last thing you want is to compare yourself to somebody else who is somewhere else in their journey on a different chapter of their book, and you're comparing your chapter 1 to their chapter 16, and you're freaking out because how could I ever get there? Case in point, this podcast. I love this podcast. I love it so much. It's not refined at all, you guys. It's only been in season 4 that I decided to put in an intro. I don't even have an outro. The way I start this podcast episode is the same, and it kind of sounds corny as hell. It kind of sounds, I don't know, I guess it kind of sounds like Superwoman's intro, but it's not. But the point being that if I looked at the stats, if I looked at my reach, if I considered the fact that, maybe 5 people listen to it every day, I probably would have quit a long time ago because if I look at the stats, the next natural thing would be like, okay, well, let's look at someone who's successful and see how many what their stats look like. How are they doing? Are they still going? Do they, what do they do different? And yes, okay, sometimes that could encourage you to level up. It could encourage you to add some, aspects of your podcast that you didn't consider before. But more times than not, it's going to be discouraging. More often than not, it's going to upset you a little bit. When I look at the Zumbo challenge, which means that they've gone into like the sudden death round where the bottom 2 are duking it out at the same time, they panic because they really look at where the other person is. Now, if you're really managing time, does it have anything to do with what the other person is doing? Hell no. Maybe your time management is different from their time management. Maybe the way you follow a recipe is different from the way they follow a recipe, right? So why compare yourself to somebody else? A lot of times when you're really afraid of doing something in the first place, comparison is the last thing you need to be doing. Now, maybe you do research ahead of time. Maybe you look at, okay, well, what's the market look like for podcasts in general? I mean, everybody and their mother has a podcast right now. But the good news is I started before everybody else did. And I'm good at what I do, I think. I love the way that I speak. And I give you enough and more examples of what to do and what not to do, the things that I've made mistakes on, all the things that I've stumbled across or stumbled on, in order to give you a full rounded picture for you to really comprehend the concept that I'm trying to teach here. But when it comes to comparison, there are two ways that this can go, y'all. Comparison can mean that you suddenly feel inadequate because you're looking at the competition. Maybe they're a little more polished than you are. Maybe their thumbnails are beautiful. Maybe their intro is a lot shorter or a lot longer, or they have sponsors, or maybe they talk about everybody else's work, and so it sounds really professional. Maybe their verbiage, their vocabulary is just on point. Maybe they're all depending on someone else in the episode itself for them to be able to carry the episode. Maybe it's all interviews. Maybe it's all, more than one person speaking, so you have this dialogue going. And I get it, you guys. It was meant to be another form of radio. So if you're looking at Muttons in the Morning, or the oh my gosh, y'all looking at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? I can't remember for the life of me. They used to be Saturday mornings. There used to be radio shows that had like the top 10 countdown, or the drama of the day. I know that the Breakfast Club has a great show, and they actually podcast it as well as vlog it and blog it, so that you can see what's going on for the day. They have the donkey of the day. They have like all these like great things, right? So when you look at that, Oli has their own shows as well. I think Singise is by Oli, correct? I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, but the point is, podcasts were meant to be another form of radio. And if I were to look at the way everyone else is doing radio, they have production houses, they have a mic set up, they have this elaborate way of doing things. If I were to look at it that way, I probably would never have started. Or maybe I would have done one or two and then quit. I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk about the fact that this is episode 680 something, 90 something, I don't know yet, right? Because I'm doing this en masse. The point being that if I had looked at what everyone else is doing, I would have definitely discouraged myself. And the last episode was about the law of attraction, not having a conflicting thought, right? I would have definitely talked myself out of it. Like, well, who the fuck do I think that I am? What do I think that I can offer that no one else can offer? I mean, look how polished everybody else is. But the point of this podcast is not to be polished. The point of this podcast is for you to sit here and listen to what I have to tell you in as raw form as possible, so you know that I did not curate this content. So you know this is exactly how I speak. If you were to sit in front of me as counselor-client situation, right? This is how I speak. I want you to know me. The way my voice sounds, the way I bring up, anecdotes and little stories to help you understand what it is that I want you to understand. The way that my thought process is. The way that I would speak to you. If I'm angry, you can tell. When I'm sad, you can tell. I want you to know me as much as you can know me through a podcast. So I don't edit as much, and I have taken to editing out some of my yawning, yes, because I have so much to say that for me, my brain doesn't work as fast as my mouth does. It's actually faster. So I tend to miss certain aspects, and then I yawn because I have something else to say, but I haven't been able to say it yet. So it's one of those behaviors that I'm trying to focus on and change. But it's not as easy. But it is kind of annoying, so I've cut those things out. So when I do edit, it's not to change what I've said. It's to take out the spaces so you get the full content one shot. I personally don't compare as much as I can, because I know what I do when I compare. I will talk myself out of an opportunity. I will talk myself out of continuing and being consistent because I suddenly feel inadequate. I am not like anyone else. And that, babe, is the point. I'm not meant to be like anyone else. I'm supposed to be a different voice. I'm supposed to be unique and a completely different character than what you're used to. I'm supposed to be me. And I'm not here to smooth out all my edges and become poised and courteous and PC because that's what everyone else is doing. I'm here to voice an opinion because maybe that's the opinion on that one day that you really needed to pick me up in order to continue. And that's actually been the point of everything. I speak up now because back then I didn't. And I wondered if people noticed. And I wondered if I was actually making a dent in this universe, if I was actually worth the air I was taking up. You all know I've had a suicidal streak in my life. And it was then that I really noticed the people who did smile at me or make eye contact or genuinely ask. And a lot of times it was the kindness of strangers that saved my life. So if I can be that kind stranger one time in your life, then I consider this a damn success. Until then, if I can become a way for you to find a voice of reason when you go to your dark places, when you get into those slumps of, self-critique and telling yourself off for things that you could have done better, when you become so overly critical of who you are in that moment when you made a mistake versus who you are now because you know better, if I can help you find that voice of reason because you continually listen to me, then great. Comparison is the thief of joy. Why? Because we don't stop at comparing notes to see how we could improve. We tend to take it personally. There have been many times where I thought, you know what, I could do so much better if I had this equipment and that equipment, but that costs money and I don't have the money, and you know what, I should just quit. My life would be so much better if I had an amazing website and all I need to do is pay somebody a couple $1,000s to build a damn website, but I don't have that kind of money, and so I have to settle with whatever I can create with my own two hands, which isn't a bad thing. It's just another skill set that I need to pick up, which means I will continue refining, which reminds me I need to go finish. But as polished as you want to be, as beautiful as you want things to look, as professional as you want things to appear, you don't always need money to do that. You don't always need to compare it to other people to do that. Sure, sometimes you need a little comparison, you need a little research so you can see what's trending out there right now. But that's not for the faint of heart, though. It's for people that do have like a pretty steady character, a pretty solid set of confidence in themselves and their skills, so that they don't get swept away by all that there is out there. Everybody's curating something on social media. Social media. Everybody's got a blog, a vlog, a photography lab. They have beautiful pictures and they have TikTok videos, and everybody has a video right now. Some of it is very, very sexy because that's how they think that they can attract attention. Some of it is very plain, but beautifully visual, vibrant colors and all of that. Everybody has their own style, but everybody's doing something. So for you to for you to actually be able to stand out against the crowd, you need to be yourself as much as possible. It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing. I remember when I first started out, I was with a corporation called Crown for Success. And yes, they helped me get started. They helped me build confidence in myself because I was able to help other people within the group itself, and that gave me the confidence I needed. And they had a way of putting together their thumbnails for Periscope. Back then, I was on Periscope teaching once a week. I had a time slot that I would jump on every week in the middle of the morning. Not in the middle of the morning, like early morning. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning, so that the people could tune in on the East Coast of the U.S., which is 12 hours behind me, right? So I'd get on and I would teach this class, and the way that I had to showcase the fact that I was getting back on for class was a specific set of images, a specific way that it was, created, so that the wording was a specific style in a specific order, the way that I wrote out what I was going to do, the timing, the place where to meet me, all those things. There was scripted verbiage that I had to follow, and the pictures were a specific type of picture. They'd given me the guidelines of what they wanted me to use. It was a lot of rose gold, back when rose gold was the big thing, right? And a lot of very specific instructions on how to do these things. But in a way, it kind of limited what I wanted to do. And I was starting to see that on my Instagram Explore feed, all of the pictures were starting to look the same. And it's not that it was made up of my feed only, it was everybody else's feed as well. So everyone was going through this white and this rose gold phase. Everyone was going through this marble background and this office desk set, that they were writing over or whatever. And it was a lot of office type pictures that were coming across my feed. And so when I noticed that, I was like, well, if I continue doing this for them, I have to do it this specific way. But if I did it for myself, I could do it differently and I could stand out from the crowd because no one was doing vibrant colors. To this day, I don't think anyone's doing one or two words in big, bold lettering across a picture. I do that because I think it's beautiful. I think it's very elegant, and I want you to read the caption. I do. So I purposely do it that way. Even my white background, the only reason I did that is because there was so much color on my feed, I needed to break it up. It was visually cluttered. It was very difficult to look at. And so I did a white background with various colors, my brand colors in the script itself. So in that regard, I used it to level up. But a lot of us aren't ready to use information like that for us to level up. A lot of us want to stop where we are when we see what everyone else is doing because we've told ourselves we don't have the skill set to match them or surpass them or to stand out against them. I could look at the stats and get discouraged, or I could put my blinders back on and say what I need to say every day on my podcast because that was what it was intended to do anyway. It's supposed to chronicle my life. Chronicle a day in the life of an entrepreneur and a single mom. The kind of person who kind of has to do it for themselves. They're a one-man band. They're a one-woman army. They do it all. And I'm here to show you that you can do it all and enjoy a level of a lifestyle that entrepreneurs who are multimillionaires claim to enjoy on a very small scale. I have the freedom of time, which also means I need to be an adult about my time. But I can rearrange my schedule as much as I like because now I can focus on what my daughter needs and where I need to be for my daughter every day. I can make French toast every weekend and pancakes every other weekend. I can make spaghetti and kotroti and whatever my daughter decides is her favorite that day. I can make banana bread all of a sudden if I really wanted to. And it doesn't cost me an arm and a leg. I don't have to buy it. I can make it myself. And the process of making it shows her that I am capable, that she is capable. If I can do it, she can do it. Comparison is a necessary evil. But how you take it, how you use it, that proves the strength of your character. Now, if you need more information on how to manage those things, how to change it so that you can actually use these things as building blocks for yourself, let me know. I'd be happy to sit and talk to you. But in the meantime, think about what I've said. There have been millions of examples in this one podcast alone. I've found a way to make it so that comparison isn't a thief of my joy. Comparison helps me level up instead. There are two ways you can have the tallest skyscraper in town. You can tear down the tallest skyscraper and then build your own. Or you can look at the way the tallest skyscraper existing looks and is built, and then plan it accordingly so that yours is the next highest skyscraper. But doing that, you understand that somebody's going to come along and it's going to look at your skyscraper and be like, you know what, I could do better. And they're going to come after it. Which is not a bad thing, though. It's supposed to help you level up. It's supposed to help you become the bigger person, a better person than you were yesterday. Don't take comparison as this petty thing. Find a way to help it grow you. That's what I've been doing. It's been tough. It's been real tough. Y'all stay tuned. I'll catch you again soon. Bye.